What is up, everybody? My name is Keggernaut, but just call me Keg, and there was a new round of PTR changes that just went live, and I mean, they're pretty crazy, guys. They are pretty crazy. I have the patch notes. They are linked down in the description below if you want to check those out, but I'm going to be focusing in this video on all of the changes that are directed towards the Brewmaster Monk. And guys, there are some pretty significant changes. Everybody can easily probably put them in the #1 spot for tanking come 7.1.5. But let's look at those now. Now, the last round of changes for the PTR on the Brewmaster didn't really touch on the talents, but this time we have received many different talent changes and also a couple legendary changes as well. But here on row 45, let's go into it. Gift of the Ox has up to 75% increased chance to trigger based on your missing health. Now, this was increased from 60 to 75%, which is a welcome change, but still probably not going to be competitive with these other two talents on the same row because brews are so much more important to us for our survivability than the extra self-healing. So, you know, we'll take that as it is and we'll kind of tinker it with it a little bit more and try to figure out what's the best talent. Row 60, Ring of Peace has actually received a massive upgrade. Form a ring of peace at the target location for 8 seconds. Enemies that enter will be ejected from the ring. So basically how this works is you place it on the ground and then it kind of creates a zone that enemies cannot enter in. For 8 seconds, enemies cannot enter that zone. It interrupts spell casting. It just kind of pushes them out. You know how kind of Sigil of Chains for Vengeance Demon Hunter pulls everything in? Well, this is going to push everything out, and it's going to keep pushing them out as long as they keep trying to get in there. So this is pretty powerful, but still not as good as Leg Sweep in my opinion, or Black Ox Statue in certain situations. But definitely very good improvement to Ring of Peace. Row 75, we have actually a brand new talent, Mystic Vitality, now replacing Diffuse Magic. Mystic Vitality Stagger is now fully effective against magical attacks. Let me repeat that one more time. Stagger is now fully effective against magical attacks, everybody. This is the biggest change that people are thinking Brewmaster is going to be the #1 tank come Nighthold, because there is so much magic damage for tanks that, so I've heard, in the Nighthold, that having Stagger work at full effectiveness instead of half effectiveness on magic damage makes them so much better. And already this talent alone makes it so healing elixirs is not the default option that we have to go to. Yeah, it definitely reduces our self-healing component and also kind of the extra health barrier that we have when we do reach 35% health. But still, having magic effects work at full effectiveness on Stagger is so powerful. Definitely one of the best changes they've ever made. But Dampen Harm has also received a massive buff as well. It is still a 2-minute cooldown, but now it's going to reduce all damage you take by 20% to 50% for 10 seconds, with larger attacks being reduced by more. So basically how this works, there's no 3-charge system. There's no, if it does more damage, it's going to reduce it and actually trigger. None of that. It's just 2-minute cooldown. You have at minimum 20% damage reduction for 10 seconds, just straight up 20% damage reduction for 10 seconds. And then how I assume it's going to work is that if we take larger percentile of our HP of a hit, it's going to variable change the 20% to 50%. So if we take an attack that does 10% of our HP as damage, then the 20% damage reduction is going to kick into effect. But if we take an attack that's something like 30% of our health and damage, then the 50% is going to scale up, and it goes variable. It's not going to be 20% or 50%. It's 20 to 50%. So you're going to get a lot more damage reduction during the 10 seconds than you would think if you're just going to take it black and white. But either way, Dampen Harm, definitely a super change. Mystic Vitality, absolutely just crushing it for magic damage fights, and Healing Elixir still a very solid choice, but in comparison with the other two, possibly not as much. But either way, massive changes, everybody. And then also row 100, Elusive Dance has also received a small buff as well. The tooltip says it also grants up to 20% dodge and damage done for 6 seconds. This got a small increase of 5%. It used to be 15% dodge and damage done, but now it is 20% dodge and damage done. Although it is a nice upgrade, but Blackout Combo and High Tolerance do directly increase the amount of brews that you can generate. So that probably will be better. And also Blackout Combo has a lot more uses outside of brew generation that is going to increase its value as a talent over Elusive Dance anyway. But aside from the talents, we do have some changes to our legendaries. So the Anvil Hardened Wrist Wraps, these were the new legendaries that were introduced in the last round of PTR changes, but they have since been changed. Now it says each time you dodge or an enemy misses you, the remaining cooldown of your brews is reduced by 1 second. This used to be that it cleared 5% of your stagger, but now it's going to be reducing your brews by 1 second. There is a video that I do have linked in the description down below, which shows just the pure effectiveness and how broken these wrists are currently. There probably is going to be an internal cooldown of 1 or 2 seconds when it goes live, but currently in its state right now, these are extremely overpowered for dungeons, and you guys can watch the video down below. And then also we have a couple more changes. The Firestone Walkers, each time you hit an enemy with Breath of Fire, it reduces the cooldown of Fortifying Brew by 2 seconds, up to a maximum of 6 seconds. This used to be reducing the cooldown of Fortifying Brew by 1 second up to a maximum of 4, so it's definitely increased the amount of time that we can have Fortifying Brew up if you do have these Firestone Walkers. This is going to be very, very powerful for Mythic Pluses, because Fortifying Brew is such a powerful cooldown anyway, but in comparison with the rest of these, I mean, Firestone Walkers and Anvil Hardened Wrist Wraps probably are going to be best for dungeons, something like that, but you can use almost any of these and you'll still get very, very, very good benefit out of it. But either way, guys, that's the end of the Brewmaster PTR changes video. Thank you so much for watching. I am live streaming on Twitch, so go check me out in the description down below. Also, if you haven't yet, please join the Discord server for daily updates and announcements from anytime I upload a new video to whenever I go live on Twitch. But either way, last time, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.